Thank you. Two men remain in custody tonight after armed police raids at addresses in Huddersfield and Sheffield last night. The men were arrested after searches in properties in Crossland Moor and Kelham Island on suspicion of offences under the Terrorism Act. Phil Bodmer has the latest.
With the cordon on Rudding Street lifted, the only visible sign of police activity was a boarded-up front door. It was here officers, some armed, had spent much of the night and had followed the arrests of two men, aged 24 and 29, both from Huddersfield, although one was detained in Sheffield. They're both being held on suspicion of offences under Section 5 of the Terrorism Act.
Well, people we spoke to in the Crossland Moor area of town were perhaps understandably reticent about appearing on camera, but they did tell us about their alarm and fears over last night's armed police operations, something they say has unsettled the wider community.
You can actually tell, yes. Why would you do something extra around uski karna when everything else comes kind of zigzag?
At the Huddersfield Pakistani Community Alliance, they're concerned that press attention around last night's raids overshadows much of the good work going on locally.
I think the initial reaction has been that of fear, anxiety. I think there was an interview from BBC yesterday where a young person was saying he heard the explosion. The first thing was that there was this fear, and unfortunately that's what's being created in the whole community. This huge fear, something's going on, they don't know what's happening and it's scaring them.
But Rudding Street has been here before. It was once home to 27-year-old Rizwan Avan, who blew himself up in Baghdad in March 2016. A third man, a 23-year-old arrested on suspicion of assisting an offender, has this evening been released. As last night's drama unfolded, a simultaneous operation was being carried out in the Kelham Island area of Sheffield. Police have thanked local residents in both locations for their patience and understanding while inquiries continue, and have stressed they're not linked to the investigation into last week's bombing in Manchester. Phil Bodmer, BBC Look North, Huddersfield.
In other news, a 54-year-old man arrested after a body was found at a house in Pontefract has been released pending further police investigations. Police were called by ambulance staff to Park Lane in the town at 10:30 on Wednesday night. The body of a woman believed to be in her 80s was discovered inside the property. Meanwhile, police are